Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be showing you some polishes inspired by the month of June. At the start of each month, I like to curate a little lineup inspired by different things associated with the month. So I'll have holidays, flowers, seasonal foods, and more. So without further ado, let me just show you my picks. So first we're starting with a couple of birthstone picks. The traditional one for June is the pearl, and I feel like I've already shared so many traditional white pearly polishes before, so this year to do something different, I went with Cracked Polish's Lilac Frosting. Apparently lavender pearls are a thing, and I'm sure you know I really love Crack's glazed or soft pearly finishes so much, and this one from last spring is no exception. It has a great formula and I love the delicate lilac shade. I feel like it can also work for a mermaid vibe, so it's a perfect shade for June. Another June birthstone is the Moonstone, and this year I'm highlighting Mooncat's The Avatar State, which is a milky white crelly base with a glowy blue shimmer. I think this perfectly matches a Moonstone's super glowy nature, although technically maybe an even better match would be a white crelly but with a blue magnetic shimmer, so that way when you velvetize it you only see the blue in certain flashes similar to the gemstone. Am I crazy, or have I not seen a white-based magnetic before? I feel like that could be cool, but unfortunately, I don't have something like that in my collection, so we're going with this one, which is still super beautiful. And the last birthstone for June is Alexandrite, which is such a beautiful stone. It has this deep purple hue with flashes of blue in it, and this year I chose Cadillacquer's Fallen to represent the stone since those glowy blue flakes make it look like a faceted gemstone. I grabbed this in polish pickup earlier this year and was expecting to wear it for the first time in the fall, but I think this would be such a fun, dark mani to wear while everybody else is wearing brighter, almost neon shades. I unfortunately can't think of a dupe for this shade, so if you happen to have one, please share it in the comments. Fingers crossed it can also come back for Rewind in the future because it is super, super gorgeous. I just cannot get over those blue flakes. As I'm sure you all know, June is Pride Month, and I wanted to spotlight Tyler's Trinkets The Rainbow Connection, which is a collaboration polish with Aculid Nails, and also a charity polish. $1 of every bottle sold will be donated to the Rainbow Railroad, which I'll have linked below if you want to read more about them or just support them directly. But this is a super fun rainbow metallic glitter topper, just an instant party on your nails, and while it obviously works well as a topper, I was also curious to try it sandwiched in between a sheer pink just to soften the colors a bit, and I don't really love this combination, but I might have to try it with something else. Did you know that the whole month of June is National Rose Month? Because I didn't, and while it would have been nice to feature some reds or pinks because I love those, I decided to go for Essie's Tart Deco to match coral colored roses. Now, I know some people Linry don't like coral, but I think it's such a perfect shade for the start of summer, and I think this is such a great match to some of those coral roses. I only wish my bottle didn't have the skinny brush. It just goes to show how old this is, but it still was surprisingly pigmented. Cherries are in season in June, and what better shade to pick than ILNP's Cherry? It's a vibrant cherry red jelly leaning formula, super flawless coverage with just a hint of squishiness, which I think perfectly captures biting into a super juicy cherry. Although I will say this color is definitely closer to maraschino cherries, which I don't really like at all, but as a nail color, it is really great for the season. Maybe I'll just think of it as a cherry syrup kind of shade for a snow cone or a slush puppy. The next polish I chose was an oldie from my collection. This is Loaded Lacquer's Acai Berry, to not only match the darker colored cherries that I actually like, but to also maybe match plums since those are in season 2. I know this is definitely a very red tone kind of shade, while plum skins are more like a blue toned purple, but if you think of like a red plum, maybe this is close to an in-between of the flesh and skin of the fruit. I don't know, maybe I am reaching with that, but I just love plums so much and I love how juicy they are, which is also how I feel about jellies in the summer, especially one that's super dark like this. Keeping on with the food theme, the next polish I have is Cirque's Lime Jelly, which I chose to match cucumbers. Now, I know this is definitely a darker and more vibrant shade of green, but I ended up adding a layer of Cracked Polish's Vanille to lighten it up a little bit, and I feel like the color is actually pretty close. The downside is that my application was a bit streaky looking. Was it actually my fault or Cirque's skinny brush? Who's to say? But other than that, I love how refreshing this combo was. Another seasonal fruit we have is the papaya, and obviously I had to choose Cracked Polish's Papaya, which is a super bright orange cream. It's honestly picking up even brighter on camera than it actually is, but it's still a super great color for summer. If you're not familiar with this shade, that's because it technically hasn't come out yet. It'll officially release in a couple of weeks with their next collection, but it did sneak its way into the Pride bundle, which is out now. I feel like I've said this before, but I actually don't even like papaya as a fruit. I feel like it's kind of gross, but I do love the color so much, so I still wanted to share something for it. I have one more food related polish, and this is for National Egg Day on June 3rd, so naturally I had to choose Apocalypse's Omelette du Fromage, which just came out last week. It's a cheesy, omelet-inspired jelly filled with iridescent flakes that honestly kind of remind me of little tomato bits. It's just too funny not to include, and if you can believe it, we are gonna see another egg-inspired polish from another brand in a few weeks that does look pretty close to this. So egg lovers are literally eating good this season. I don't know how many people celebrate the summer solstice as an actual holiday, but it's on June 21st and marks the official start of summer. So, of course, I had to pick ILNP's Summer, which I just love so much. Like I said earlier, I feel like coral is such a perfect summer shade, and this one is so incredibly bright. It's not exactly a neon, like this doesn't really compare to Vaporwave, which is a true neon, but it kind of wants to be a neon. It's just so bright and beautiful, and I think it's so perfect. Honestly, honorable shout out to the rest of the Poolside collection because those shades are peak summer vibes. And the last holiday I have is National Pink Day, which is on June 23rd. It was so hard to narrow down what pinks to feature, and I only have two, but they're both Barbie inspired with different vibes. This first one is Polish for Days Barbie on the Boardwalk, which is like a neon mid-toned pink with a super glowy blue shimmer. Just the perfect combination that makes me go absolutely feral. I am so glad they brought this back for Rewind because I missed out on it the first time around. I was trying to convince myself I don't need another pink with a blue shimmer, but lo and behold, I actually did need this one. And my last Barbie pink is Ave Slater, which came back last summer. This is a much deeper, more blue-toned pink cream, almost leaning into the magenta family. If you remember my Barbie Court collab video with Swatches a few summers ago, you might remember that I discovered this was like the perfect color match to the official Barbie Pantone pink. At least that's how it looks in my eyes, and while I don't normally love a darker hot pink, I feel like I can make an exception for this one, especially with how flawless the formula is. So that wraps up my monthly picks for the month of June. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think, especially if you're born in June. Happy birthday to all the June babies out there. But yeah, while I don't have my full lineup that I shared in the video here right now, I feel like generally I did have a lot of bright shades, which is very fitting for the start of summer, but it was still fun to feature a couple of like super dark shades that I would normally wear in the fall, because it's just not something I normally gravitate to, but it is like refreshing in a way to see them amongst all the brighter neons. I also feel like this month I gravitated more towards a lot of like food inspiration, which I think is fitting because as the months get warmer, I just love eating more like fruits and things. So it kind of makes sense in my mind that I was more focused on that as opposed to like actual holidays. But overall, I still enjoyed my lineup and hope you did too. So let me know what you think down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!